Hey, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the job site. Now, you probably noticed something different about this scene. What is it? Well, I'm wearing a tool belt today. I never wear a tool belt, but I have to wear a tool belt today because we're working on these 25-foot ceilings and I don't want to make multiple trips up and down that extension ladder, so I got the tool belt. But the other thing cool that's different is this. This is a Festool Capex miter saw, and I'm gonna give you my opinion of it. Now, I don't go into full in-depth tool reviews. This is not the channel for that. This is a first impression from a guy who's been using this for the last 7 hours. Now, this guy has been using this for the last 7 hours, but for the last nearly decade, I've been using all DeWalt miter saws. So I'm gonna be comparing this heavily to my DeWalts. Let's talk about price point real quick. Just forget the prices. If someone's gonna be making money with a tool like this, because people say, oh, that thing's 1,500 bucks, it's not worth it. I think that's what it runs, US dollars, 1,500, somewhere around there. People will say, oh, it's not worth it. We look at it as if it outperforms something that's inferior, then the value is there. So let's pretend, just take price off the table. Now, like anything with a first impression, there's gonna be things I like about it and things I don't like about it. Let's go with the positives first, and then I'll tell you what I don't like about it at the end. First impression of it is it feels good. You know, it feels like a solid tool. I will say the best thing I've noticed on it is the dust collection. We've been cutting with this thing for the past 7 hours, and this is the dust back here that we've made. I mean, it's amazing. Now, we've got it hooked up with this Festool Clean Tex. I'm not really familiar with these Festool products. So we got it hooked up to this. It's great for dust collection. Way better than the DeWalt. When you're in a stationary position like this with this saw and this vacuum, whenever you go to operate the saw and turn it on, the vacuum will kick on too, which that's cool because you remember I use my foot pedal, which never bothered me, the little momentary foot pedal for my vacuum setup, but that vacuum is really good. So whenever I turn this saw on, you'll hear the vacuum kick on as well. So that's the biggest thing with this tool, is it has an amazing dust collection system. The next best thing I like about it is the bevel motion. Most miter saws, you reach back, undo some knob, and then you can bevel it. But this one, it's just this knob right here, and it feels nice and smooth. You just rotate this little knob right here, and then you dial it wherever you want it. And what's cool about this, it has a positive stop at 0 to zero you out, but there's no other little button you gotta push to go past to get to the right bevel. So you can go both ways with this, but it still has a positive stop. I thought that was really cool, because again, most miter saws, you got this little tab or this little button you gotta push, and that's how you're gonna bevel. So that right there is amazing. Another cool thing, especially for me, are these crown stops right here. These are cool, and these are very similar to the jig I just made. We've been using these, and I have no complaints on them. We've been using them today for this crown job. So these are really cool. Just built-in crown stop, and I really like that about it. Another cool thing it has is this angle finder that's on board. So you can go and throw this on your angles, and this is gonna tell you exactly what to set the miter saw to. Pretty cool that it's right here and ready to use. Now, I've seen these where they have the laser, and this one has it, but for some reason we can't get this one to come on. It just may need a new one, or I don't know what's going on with that. So we haven't been able to use that feature, but from what I've seen with these, it's a really nice laser line, and it gets you right to your cut line. So it's unfortunate this one's not working. I really wanted to see that, but it is what it is. So overall, that's kind of my positives on it. It cuts good. I have no complaints on the cuts. It makes nice, clean cuts. Now, the negatives for me on this tool, while most of it operates smoothly, there is one feature that is a little rough, and the DeWalt beats this on that. And that is when you're sliding to change the detents, it just feels like a little rough. It just, I don't know, but it just doesn't feel like it takes a lot of effort, like a lot of motion to get this thing moving. Whereas the DeWalt, you can just swing that thing around and it locks into the detents. The detent lock is nice, but getting to the detent lock, it just requires a lot of force, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now, one other really big negative is this whole safety feature with this thing right here. So if you want to push this down, like a lot of times if I have a piece of crown and I'm trying to like dial in to a cut line, I'll just like push the saw down without having my fingers on the trigger or anything. But with this one, you can't do that. You actually have to go with this little safety feature first and then push down on it. And it's really weird because you can't just push this and go down. You actually have to push the button that engages the tool a little bit. So it'll be like this. So basically, if you push this down, you're not going anywhere. It's not moving. But if you push this down a little bit, then you can go down. So to get that motion that I want where I'm trying to look at a cut, I have to kind of lightly push both of these buttons, and it's a little ridiculous in my opinion. And another thing, this too, I'm used to it now, but in the beginning, it was like, if you didn't push it just right, like simultaneously, like sometimes I would like go to cut something and it'd be like, oh yeah, I gotta push that one. And then it's just weird, just like a weird feeling. So I didn't like that about it. And that was really irritating. Now, here's the deal breaker for me. Those are kind of little things that, you know, probably wouldn't bother much people. But the deal breaker for me on this thing and why I wouldn't purchase it is because this is so weird. And I knew when I seen this, the first time I ever seen it, I was like, that's weird. This, that feels so awkward to be cutting like that. I don't know how else to explain it, but take your hand and just go like this. It just doesn't feel right. Whereas the DeWalt, you just rest your hand like you're riding a bike or something. I don't know, just a real relaxed feeling. And then you can push down on it. I don't know, it's weird. I guess.
It works with your wrist.
Yeah.
It's working against your...
Yeah, it's like John said, it works. The DeWalt works with your wrist. Like this motion, this works like in a way that your wrist doesn't feel comfortable, for me at least. So that is just strange, and that is the deal breaker for me on this. It just feels so awkward. I guess one argument would be is that, well, no matter what you do, if you're left-handed or right-handed, this is going to be the same. But it feels like I'm right-handed, dominant right-handed person. It feels even more awkward with my left hand. It feels like so weird. But the DeWalt, like I said, it's like you're riding a bike. It just feels natural with your wrist, and I have no problems pushing it down. But when I went to make my first left-handed cut today, I was like, whoa, this thing is weird. That is why I would never purchase one of these. So hopefully you found this insightful. This is just coming from me, some guy who made a DeWalt shirt, because that's pretty much all I use is DeWalt and Milwaukee. So take it for what it's worth. I'm not an expert on these things, but since people have been telling me to try this, I wanted to give y'all my impression of it. So that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for watching, and we're gonna finish the job with this thing, and this will be the last time I use one of these. But I'll see you all on the next one. Take care.